When I first heard of the concept of a live-action Goosebumps movie, I was pretty amped. It seemed like a perfect way to tribute the popular and nostalgic series, putting together many of the motifs and villains that appeared in the original books. I was never a big reader of Goosebumps, but they were always around, and I knew enough about the different titles and most popular entries. I did see a couple of those Goosebumps VHS tapes as a kid, and even those freaked me out, even though they're probably seen now as silly and childish. They made an impact, so I was actually anticipating this project. This review was requested by Ryan Walterson on Patreon, who's been asking me to do all of these Sony Animation films, and wait a minute, this isn't even an animated movie. I guess characters were done by Sony Animation? Seems more like a way to promote this movie to the kids. Like, hey there audience, remember the studio that brought you Hotel Transylvania and the Smurfs? Well, look at this other thing they technically had a part in. The story is about a boy moving to a normal, boring town, but runs into the girl next door, who he worries is being treated badly by her father, who happens to be R.L. Stine, the writer of Goosebumps. After they infiltrate the house to free the girl, who's not in danger anyway, they accidentally open the Goosebumps manuscripts, which contain real monsters which go on the loose. So the plot is pretty stupid when you think about it, and honestly you'd be here all day if you'd want to point out inconsistencies or contrivances. It's about as basic as you can get for a blockbuster movie with a non-summer release date. The story kind of runs like something you'd find in a studio committee. There was obviously a lot of quotas the screenwriter had to live up to, but luckily it does at least have a lot of fun with the idea, and they actually managed to fit in quite a few good laughs and set pieces. Something like this would typically become unmemorable, but they just happen to get the right actors, the right humor, and even pleasant cinematography at times. The color palette of these Sony movies are always appealing, and I can never really explain why. Maybe they're just vibrant or bright enough to keep my attention, even when the movie is bad. It was directed by Rob Letterman. He started out with Shark Tale of all things, but has only been improving himself since then, this year releasing Detective Pikachu, probably his best work to date. And you know what? That also kinda had a bit of a stupid plot, but it was played enough with to make it enjoyable. I don't know, maybe Rob Letterman's skill is to take these terrible studio executive ideas and make them work. Then again, he directed Gulliver's Travels, so I guess everyone has their one big mishap. Speaking of that, let's talk about Jack Black, who I've always considered underappreciated. He brings a fun, bubbly, and hilarious performance to R.L. Stine, and what's great about Black is he always treats every role with dignity. He gives 110% and oftentimes can save a doomed project, and here he's definitely the shining star. He even does the voice of the dummy Slappy, which can really add some discussions to what that brings to the story, but they don't really acknowledge it much. There's a bunch of kid characters which are all fine. That's Dylan Minnette from 13 Reasons Why, and I think he's actually a really good actor, and he does great stuff here too. I loved seeing Ryan Lee again. I really liked him in Super 8, and Amy Ryan should be in every movie, so of course I love that. I should probably talk about the effects though, which is the main reason I'm even reviewing this 2015 flick. Oh my god, this movie came out in 2015, 4 years ago already? Okay, yikes, time is going fast. Anyways, the animation isn't great. Okay, let me rephrase that. For obvious reasons, I don't think an animation studio that primarily does fully animated movies based on storyboard designs and a long history of boundary-pushing aesthetics is meant to animate characters who are meant to live in the real world. They don't look bad, but they feel out of place and never feel real. Perhaps that was the idea they were going for, and you can argue that since these characters came out of a book, they're meant to look less realistic, but I don't know. When it's not something that's really there, it becomes distracting. There's a lot of weird scenarios that happen too, like how they manage to convince the school to rally together and fight off the villains, or how there's a random abandoned theme park in the middle of the woods, or how Slappy can somehow open the book when he's not out of the book yet. Why didn't he just do that years earlier? Just a lot of convenience, I would say. But most of it goes ignored because I'm still having fun, and after 4 years, I was expecting to not like this as much the second time around. But the thing where R.L. Stine's daughter is actually a ghost from one of his books, That was weird and creepy, and it didn't make sense. And he brought her back to life at the end, making her permanent in the real world. How's that even make any sense? And now she's free from the book? Does she age now? What are the rules here? Maybe they'll bring this up in the sequel, but seeing that I was one of the only people in the world who actually saw the sequel, I can confirm that it's an entirely different set of characters. And also, I don't mind that movie either. Maybe I just have too much patience, but these are solid kids movies, and while I'm fine with adding horror elements to children's movies, finding nothing wrong with a few scares here and there for the little ones, I'm also perfectly fine with something that plays it all up for laughs.